It's been 4 weeks since Dublin Fire Brigade's recruit class started training. The 25 trainees have been progressing well, but today the tension is high. They are preparing for the first day of their breathing apparatus module. This will be the most intensive and arguably most vital part of their training regime so far.
The first day that the instructors walk in with breathing apparatus sets on them, you can almost see the colour drain from the student's face. They know that if the instructors have a breathing set on, there's an increased level of danger.
Hurry up! Get out! Make sure you have your PPE and water bottles with you.
Breathing apparatus procedures are what keep firefighters alive in life-threatening situations. It's a vital skill set that must become part of every recruit's repertoire. Station Officer Martin Carr lays down the law before the training session begins.
You're to listen to the instructions you are given by the instructors. You're to carry out those instructions you are given by the instructors. Every task you are set is achievable. Are we all clear on that?
Yes, Theo.
So I want to see a bit of effort when we go in here. Start getting under air. Don't forget your pre-entry test.
The recruits are about to enter a maze of tunnels built inside storage containers. Breathing apparatus training is not just an education in how to operate an oxygen tank. It's about learning how to keep calm when navigating dark, deadly confined spaces.
Confined space is somewhere where they're not able to stand up. It's to get the student used to moving in darkness and in conditions where there's quite a lot of noise. And I suppose the fear factor for the student is they've never been in something like that. So this is a big step for them, as is every step along the way.
Malone, right, here you go. Your brief here to go in. Take a fire on the left. Back around and start again. Wilson.
Dublin Fire and Ambulance.
Report of a two-car RTA.
Okay, do you know how many persons are injured there approximately?
One car is in the ditch.
Okay.
And there's a person trapped in it.
Go ahead there, caller.
This is serious here. There's a bad accident here.
So that's a car on the side of people stuck in the car?
That's right.
Any moving there?
He's lying in the car and
over a river.
It's sitting in over a ditch as well.
Now, I have a fire engine down there to you now at the moment, okay?
You need an ambulance as well.
Firefighters hurry to the scene of a two-car accident near the foothills of the Dublin Mountains. This is a serious incident. The impact of the head-on collision sent one of the cars flying into the air before landing on its side with the driver trapped inside. With the extent of his injuries unknown, the firefighters must fashion a way to extract him as quickly and safely as possible.
Like as soon as you fold that roof down, the glass is going to go.
The first priority is to stabilize the car as much as possible. The firefighters grab hoses and wooden blocks, anything that can be used to prop up the vehicle.
When firefighters arrive at any scene, they have to stabilise the car to make sure that the patient doesn't move around and doesn't cause any further damage to themselves. When a car is on its four wheels, we can just use our chocks and blocks and our wooden blocks to stabilise that car. But in this particular case, with the car halfway over a ditch on its side, improvisation is the key.
With the car now steadied and a firefighter perched inside to keep the driver stable, the extraction process can begin. Working quickly, they must make a number of strategic cuts with the hydraulic equipment before the roof can be folded back.
It's all about getting access to the patient. The extrication rule is about taking the car away from the patient and getting as much space around the patient so we can get the spinal board in and immobilise that patient as best we can.
With the roof peeled back, the firefighters now have access to the patient, but they still face a difficult and delicate procedure to safely extract the injured driver.
Straight up, yeah, if you want to get his shoulder, I can probably take his head, yeah. Where's the gash there? Okay. Now if we're going to move you, okay?
It's rare that a patient is handed up to us in a clinical environment. We have to get into some very tricky scenarios to be able to get at the patient. The crew did really well here. When the roof was going to be folded down to get access to the patient, that would have been unstable as well. So they used the 2 extensions of the short extension ladder to make an improvised bridge so they could have a stable platform to walk on, be able to get access and get the spinal board in to remove the patient.
Slide the ladder there. Yeah. Right.
Who called them?
Right, press the slide and slide. Okay.
Right, that's there.
Improvisation again is the key, and using whatever tools and procedures that we have. So it was all really, really good, well thought out and well executed, and using the best of resources the best way possible for the best outcome for the patient.
Keep moving! Come on, Mr. Mulhern, get a move on! Keep left! Go ahead, let's go, keep moving!
Meanwhile, back at the training centre, the recruits are getting their first taste of confined spaces. It's not for the faint-hearted.
When you're first thrown into it, and you're in the dark, there's roaring and shouting and water being thrown at you and kicking and banging and screaming. It's a different game.
Keep moving, don't let that gap get any bigger. Come on, you're right behind. Where are we slowing up? Get that point up, get down in your belly. Get right down there, you don't get through. Come on.
The reality in a lot of fires is it can be quite noisy. You'll hear the instructor shouting at them. We'd consider that encouragement. They probably think we're putting them under huge pressure, but we want to get them used to that environment.
You hear a lot of noise, and that's coming from everyone, including the officers, but you're concentrating so much on what you're doing that you have to just blank it out, to be honest.
Get on your belly! Get on your belly! Lie on your belly and put your feet down first. That was dangerous what you did. Right, keep left, push up!
Somebody gets stuck up ahead, you're trying to call to them, but with the breathing apparatus, you have very little communication, so everybody's just piled in together.
Hey, get it moving! Hurry up! Come on, move it! Let's move it! Go, let's go! Come on! Keep left! Get that tire ahead of you! Keep low! Come on, let's go! Come on, get down, you're too high!
The diameter of the tunnels can decrease as well to the point where you're barely fitting your shoulders through. That's when you have to fight against every urge in your body to scream or quit.
They're probably a little bit fearful. They realise there's a lot at stake. They realise they're quite lucky to be chosen, because there's a lot of people out there would love to have this job with the challenges that it presents. This is an opportunity that they don't want to miss out on.
Push the tire in front of you, get down on your bed. Where you moving? Get down flat, front sideways and forward, that's it. Move on through, come on.
To say, as much as it is very physical, I think for me, the likes of crowds, confined spaces, is you have to be more mentally strong than physically strong. I've seen guys struggle that would be very fit. Keep saying to yourself, just calm down, just not to panic, just keep your head.
Get up through the gap, keep going.
It's during that phase, the training, where you start to become mentally strong. And that's the key to almost everything. Without the mental strength, the physical strength doesn't mean anything.
Get your water, gents. Bent off, sit down. Nice, neat, straight line, please.
Oh, lovely, yeah? You have to have brains as much as muscle to be going through there. Okay? There's a set removed. Do we remove the set to go through an obstacle?
Also.
Make sure we get it right for the next time. Okay?
Yes, sir.
The only good thing out about that was you all came out alive just about.
Hello, Dublin Fire and Rescue. There's a fire on the Clonballywalk Road. What's on fire there? I can't see. There's a lot of smoke coming back from it. I think it's in an alleyway, but it's next to a house.
Hello, fire and ambulance.
There's a fire going on and it seems to be getting pretty big now. It's right beside the garage with a car. But there's a lane, it appears, beside it, and it's right in the gable of a house, and it's really flaming now. I'd say the house probably got no time. It looks pretty big now.
A fire rages deep inside a car garage in the heart of Dublin's north inner city. Crews arrive from across the capital. It's a firefighter's nightmare. A locked building stocked with rubber tires. The first crew to respond blast the building with water to stop the blaze from spreading to nearby homes. But this fire will take work to defeat. The only way to put the fire out will be to get face to face with it. That will mean getting deep inside this treacherous building. There's no way in, the heat is intense, and they're not the only problems they're facing.
Especially in the city centres or in a busy, bustling city, there's going to be overhead cables adjacent to most premises. With the heat transfer from an intense fire like that, they can easily ignite as a result. Many of the overhead cables can have 10,000 volts of electricity passing through them. Water and electricity are not great friends with each other, so you have to be aware of all those factors.
Trying to take down a door that's actually on fire itself, the fact that it's spread to that overhead lines, that's another hazard that's burning above your head while you're trying to get into that door. Stuff could drop off that. So these are all factors that we have to watch out for.
Due to the extreme heat, the firefighters can't get access through the steel door. They must quickly find another point of attack before the blaze engulfs the building. There are houses adjoining the garage. This fire cannot be allowed to get any bigger.
Access can be regularly a difficulty in fighting fires. You know, it's not just about escape as well, obviously, but if the fire is behind the only access, we have no other way into the premises to tackle the fire safely.
This is a car garage, right? Cars are inside of that wall. I just want you to go in and have a look, see if you can see any way out into there, right?
A breathing apparatus crew head into the smoke-filled garage through the reception, carrying with them torches and a hose. They hope to find an alternative route to the source of the fire before it's too late. Back at the training centre, the recruits are putting their search techniques into action. Today, they will be navigating through a pitch-black room in order to locate casualties. Known as the breathing apparatus shuffle, this is the protocol that will help guide them safely through the darkness.
The basic technique is to keep their weight on their back foot. Their front foot they're trying to establish, is the floor safe? Is there something that they're going to trip over? Their leading hand is to make sure that they don't walk into an obstruction. Depending on their position within the team leader will use his other hand to maintain contact with the wall, and every other team member will maintain what we call personal contact.
They're coming to a bed of some sort. Right there, Larry, I got a count.
Number 2?
Yeah.
You dress your team leader as number 1.
Okay, sorry, yourself.
Hold on, stop. Come here a minute, move forward. What wall are you on?
The right wall.
The right wall. Are you on the right wall now?
No, I was going to go back.
Why did you leave it?
If they take their hand off the wall, potentially 2 steps away from that wall, they might meet an obstruction, a piece of furniture, that's going to throw them all together. They might never get back on that wall. And a lot of the times for firefighter fatalities, the difficulty is confusion with route finding.
Don't keep moving away from me, move forward. Why did you move off the wall? What's the rule? Never leave the wall is never leave the wall. It's not sometimes. Do not leave that wall again. Get back on that wall and lead the team.
Okay, another doorway.
One thing that we didn't realise at the start was just because we can't see the instructor doesn't mean that the instructor can't see you.
I'm on my turnaround time now, alright?
You're on your what? What's turnaround time? The time is what's a 4:15, is it? It's time to go home and wrap up.
No, it's my pressure.
Oh, your turnaround pressure, is it?
Yes, that's all.
You try a few things on, but you didn't get away with much in that training at all, no. hands are flying in front of the face and feet are shuffling across the floor. It was a few days to learn. I myself, took an extra few days to kind of get used to it. It wouldn't be the best dancer in the world or have the best feet in the world, so there was a few shouts at Mr. Devine already.
Hands on the crown. Oh, can I suggest that you get it up on one of your shoulders fairly rapid and get him out of here, because he's dying with every breath that he takes. Come on. Team Charlie, get a hold of that casualty and withdraw. So you shuffle number 1. Team Charlie, where are you going? Team Charlie. Do you think could you be lost?
Not too sure, that's all.
Come on, team leader, make a decision. Communication, gentlemen. 2 teams in one area. Delta, are you on the way in or on the way out? Still. Okay, let's make a decision, folks. Do not leave the left-hand wall. All the way round.
We're trying to get these students to make good progress. While they're doing that, they're using quite a lot of air, depending on their size, their level of fitness. Air management is a huge thing when you're wearing BA.
What's the hold up?
Come on, move on!
Move on! Get into there! Come on, keep it moving! Why are you stopping? Keep going, don't be stopping! Let's go!
You would learn entrapment procedure techniques. The idea being you stay in one spot and then try and conserve as much air as possible by staying as calm and relaxed as possible.
Right. Everyone slow down the breathing. Everyone relax. Okay. Right, you now have a building collapse. Trapped. Wait for a rescue team. You've got to conserve your air.
He's trying to get you to control yourself from being up at a high intensity heart rate pump and everything to just try and bring your breathing under control, just try and bring your heart rate down and just try and slow down, conserve your energy.
Slow down your rate of respiration now. Easy breaths.
What we would do then after that exercise, we would produce a chart to show them what their air consumption was prior to the entrap procedure and what their air consumption was during the entrap procedure.
Okay, we're going for gauge readings. Number 1.
130,
Number 1, 130. Number 2.
130, yes, no.
Number 2, 130. 3.
110, yes, no.
Next.
Mulher, 120.
Wakey. I told you to relax. I didn't tell you to go to sleep.
12 of us huddled together, very warm, very uncomfortable, and a very long 15 minutes until the exercise was over.
Hand on the cylinder in front of you. Let's go, number 4. Get a move on. Come on. Keep moving. Get a hand on the cylinder in front of you. Get a hand on the cylinder in front of you.
How the facts and figures are not very telling. If you ever find yourself in a situation like that, you have to be able to control your breathing. You've done the lectures, that was a practical demonstration of it, and some of you have failed miserably.
I suppose there's a fear factor. I can't do this is too difficult. And it's almost every single time that they get over that, it's a huge achievement for them. The group probably might think you're being hard on them all the time, but you know that the next day, if you go easy on them, they're going to slack off. So you really can't take your foot off the pedal with them.
Meanwhile, over at the car garage, flames continue to pour out of the building as firefighters struggle to access the seat of the blaze. A breathing apparatus crew has entered the smoke-filled interior and looks for alternative options.
Get to the back, just access the back.
A second means of access in and around behind the fire would be ideal. And by engaging like through a reception area, through a novice area, you can also conduct a search as you go through. Because sometimes in these premises, there may be somebody present that hasn't been accounted for. Search and rescue is always part of what we do. It's always in our mind. En route then, we can also find a better access for fighting the fire.
Okay, back row. ventilation. Maybe that's just the storage room. Can you come through with me? Charlie, go ahead. Now look so far out, it seems to be a solid back wall, and all we found was a storage room. Is there fire in the storage room? Negative. There's only one way in and out in this strip.
The breathing apparatus crew report on their findings. There is no alternative access to the fire. They'll have to try the steel front door again. The saw is fired up again and the firefighters let rip. Thankfully, the gate has finally cooled and the steel begins to cave to the will of the saw's sharp blade. After a shower of sparks, the firefighters can finally pull it aside. With the door removed, they enter the front of the garage for the first time and drown the fire with foam.
Sometimes when you have a lot of material stored up like that, a mixture of materials, it's not just timber, rubber, in this case there was a lot of tires in there and other plastics as well. Water itself is not a good extinguishing agent. It'll cool it very well, but what happens is once the water runs off, the temperature stays within and it builds itself back up and it will reignite. So we need to cut out the source of oxygen. Situations like that where there's lots of plastics and rubbers, we would smother, put a blanket of foam over the whole lot. So we're cooling it and smothering it as well.
With the operation nearing an end, the eaves of the building are sprayed with water to stop the fire from reigniting. It was a tough fire to deal with, but the firefighters have stopped it from spreading to the adjoining houses.
The most important result when we attend a situation like this is that, number one, obviously there's nobody injured, be they members of the public or firefighters, and also that the fire is extinguished in its fullest form. So when we drive away from that incident and everybody is in one piece, no injuries, the fire is extinguished successfully and we're ready to roll again, but then in our books that's a success.
Ragnar